name or something. There you go.
Okay, call the meeting to order. All right, our first order of business is introductions, introducing of our new commissioner, Jeff Siegler. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeff Sigler, Commissioner of Ward 1. My background is actually in preservation in Main Street. So grew up in Ohio, got my degree in undergraduate in economics and graduate degree in urban planning at Virginia Commonwealth University. Was a Main Street manager in Ohio for a couple of years, then ran the Ohio Main Street program for about 10 years. Moved to Mount Lebanon in 2016 and just primarily worked as a consultant since that time. I work around the country with communities that are trying to figure some things out and trying to revitalize their downtown. So I do some speaking, bit of writing, and consulting, and yeah, just wanted to, I don't know, felt that I was working in a lot of other places, but my own, and so decided that I wanted people to call me and complain about trash fees. So
Right.
yeah, like I would like to hear more about the traffic circle and art. So, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's been great.
Why don't we just go around and introduce ourselves? We'll start. Grace, right now.
I'm Grace Gartman. I am a teacher during the day out in Gateway School District, but my master's degree is in historic preservation. So I would like to stay connected to the preservation field and do education simultaneously.
I'm Alan Holfelder. I'm a retired architect. Lived in Mount Lebanon for close to 40 years.
I'm Matthew Moses. I'm a corporate lawyer at Babs Callen downtown. Lived in Mount Lebanon for 25 years now.
I'm Phil Lysius. I'm a retired archaeologist from IUP and been chairing the board for several years now. I've only been living in Lebanon since 2018, so relative newcomer.
Mary Ellen Donato. I've lived in Mount Lebanon for 19 years and I manage the Howard Hanna Collier office, but I spent 10 years in the Mount Lebanon.
I'm your staff liaison. I have lived here, this is our 30th year.
Oh,
And I've been liaison since 2018 to sport.
Great. Citizens' comments, doesn't look like we have any today. All right, let's go back to our minutes from way back in November. You had a chance to consider them.
With the correction of Alan's name spelled correctly.
We'll get his name spelled correctly for the record, right? I have a motion to approve.
Second.
If all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Administrative reports. Well, it's been a while. I did do the municipalities, little citizen, call that schooling,
Residence Academy.
Residence Academy. Okay, which actually went well, had a lot of fun, talked about historical preservation. The other thing is, it occurs to me, of course, now we only have one more meeting, and probably with the changes that are happening, I need to write up a summary annual report that's pretty comprehensive for the new board. Have any of you re-upped to stay on the board after this session?
The consolidated
You did?
board, right?
The new consolidated board with
Resiliency board. Yes.
resiliency and economic development. I think is the new name, right?
I think that's right.
I applied through my handwriting, whatever.
No, that's good, because that's one thing I'm concerned about is sort of consistency. So I have 1 year left, so I told him I would be willing to stay on for that 1 year, but that's only 1 year. So I was hoping there'd be at least one other person who's been working with the committee, Historic Preservation Board, be moving on with that. So for our next meeting, I will try to put together more fairly comprehensive annual report summary of our things we've done this past year, which will help to guide the new committee going forward. So I may reach out to some of you in terms of your various areas of responsibility or something like that to help me out here over the next month about, well, what if I'm not gonna remember everything. But try to get that together for you guys to look at for the next meeting.
And just know that all the documents, everything that's in our OneDrive, all of the PennDOT report, the draft policies, all of that's gonna be moved over for the new liaison to have access to, and the new members to have access
Okay.
to. So none of those documents are going.
All right. So basically, that's all I need to report on. We will have some Brick Street business I'll mention later on, and we'll let Jeff lead us with the advisory board transition discussion, which I think we want to talk about, so. When we get to that. Okay, administrative reports for commission. Anything you need to let us know what's happening with the commission?
Don't think that there has been anything that's come up lately that would. I can't think of anything that we've had in front of us lately that would be particularly relevant. If I think of something.
Yes. All right, Laura, you have anything?
I believe I emailed all of you the Mission Hills sign saga, but I just wanted to give you an update on that. For those of you, if you hadn't read it, a driver hit the Mission Hills sign and pretty much ruined it. It's bronze, it's bent, can't really be unbent. The driver's insurance will be paying for it. Rudy in Public Works, as this is in his purview, has engaged a sign company to look at it. He does have the sign, and it is going to be put back together with new components, bronze sign, the scrollies, everything. The current bid is $32,000. So, and that does not count the damage to the traffic signal that was done at the same time. So, yeah, these things are, but it's important. It's a historic sign in a historic neighborhood, so it is going back the way it was. So that was number one. Number two, we've been having conversations with Columbia Gas, who is doing a very large multi-stage gas project. They've already started in Castle Shannon, kind of down by the T-tracks. They're gonna be going up Castle Shannon Boulevard, up Cook Lane where the Rite Aid is and the bank, up Crystal Drive and up Anawanda. It's gonna take them all summer to do that. I think you know where this is headed. When they go up Crystal, that's a brick street. So if you remember from the Brick Street policy, the streets that were listed in there, the bottom portion of Crystal was listed as recommended for conversion to asphalt because of its incline. So we have had conversations with the gas company. They are responsible for providing like for like. So they theoretically would have to replace it, but in light of what happened, those of you who were here in November and heard the gentleman who was upset that his bricks were taken for another project, the benefit of the bottom part of Crystal being done in asphalt is they are going to reclaim all of those bricks to be able to save them for the top part of the street. So the trench is gonna go from the bottom of Crystal all the way up to almost Gypsy Lane, if you know that street. And it's gonna be a thin section. So they will take the bricks out, they will repair it, and then they will put the bricks back from 739 and lower. So that's from 739 all the way up to Gypsy. That brick will be put back. From 743 and down is going to be asphalt. And now that asphalt will be temporarily put in after the project is done this summer. And the municipality is going to completely redo that part of the street in 2025 as part of its road project. And then basically what the gas company will do is they're gonna give us the money that they would have spent redoing it to offset the cost of us doing it so that they don't have to do it. So the upshot is the majority of the street will have their brick and they will have enough bricks so that no matter how much breaks, it will be taken care of. But the bottom of the road will be repaved as asphalt. I asked Rudy to be specific as to what that meant. It's 9 residences on the bottom part, 1 commercial building, which is a dentist's office that in an old house, and the Baptist homes. So that's gonna be your impact. I have been keeping Phil up to date on it. We have sent, I'm not sure if they would have received them yet, we've sent letters to all of those homeowners, the ones from the top and the bottom, so that the ones from the top will know that the bricks are coming up, but don't worry, they're being replaced, and to the ones from the bottom so that they will know that they are being place. So they will have ample notice of that. They probably will not start that work until May, but again, with the utilities, you never know. It's weather dependent and how fast they go. But it was important to us to get that out to them before the utility trucks started rolling in, especially given what has happened with some other neighborhoods. So they will have ample opportunity to come in front of the boards and in front of the commission if they have an issue with it. Again, I hesitate to give them kind of false hope because the commission did look at the streets and this was one section of the street that they said because of the steep slope there, they didn't feel that bricks should be replaced, but the commission has the final say. So, any questions about that?
Laura has been keeping me up to date and I've been following it, and it is true that, in fact, there's more of Crystal Lane that's on the list to be replaced even beyond what they're going to this time. So they're being pretty conservative in terms of the part of the road they're actually going to replace with asphalt. Based upon the original, the policy passed last fall in that list. Most of Crystal Drive, actually Crystal Drive up, I think it says up to near Gibson.
Gypsy, yeah.
Gypsy could be replaced with asphalt if deemed this, as it deteriorates. But at this point, they're taking this opportunity to replace. That's the one section of the road I know we've heard complaints about it before in terms of safety issues
Yeah, it's steep.
and curvy and so, given that, the gas company's paying for part of this, it's probably a smart time to try to go ahead and fix that one. So, I saw drafts of the letters that they're gonna send out and this is our sort of first use of the new policy in a way. And I think I'm really pleased that we're communicating this well and this quickly with residents. So there's gonna be no surprises. And if anybody's
There'll be
angry,
surprises. Somebody will say they didn't get the letter.
well,
So,
still,
but we're
we've
trying,
done
exactly.
everything we
I'll
can.
be saying that to the resiliency board.
Well, we'll just have a complaint to the commission,
Because we don't want anybody to think this happened in a backdoor room. This was all
You're right.
in very open conversations. You're being told, they're being told directly. So everybody should be on the same page.
Right, and that's something we've been focusing on for over the last several years with any preservation plan. The communication's gotta be a key element of this because we saw what happened with Duquesne and there was a mob in here.
A polite mom. They were polite.
Well, they were polite, yes, they weren't
That's all.
angry at us per se. So I think, actually, so this is working out pretty well, as well as can be. Is there anything else that you had? One other I did want to mention in terms of the other brick street, but this was way back in November, we did have a resident come in and complain about the bricks being replaced that were in front of his house were slightly different. Laura communicated some of the specifics of that and part of what, yes, there are things probably could have been done better in terms of planning ahead. And which I think now the municipalities may be seeing the value of saving bricks because what happened was they couldn't, the part of the different road that they were working on, they couldn't replace those bricks. Some of those bricks, the only place where they could find something similar was unfortunately near, and it's right where the brick street ends, is where his house is, at the intersection with asphalt. They thought, well, this would make sense to use these and replace them with the newer bricks. They unfortunately discovered they really had trouble. They could not find legitimate replacement bricks in the open market. That's part of the problem. And that's something maybe to look into, maybe broaden the search, in terms of planning ahead, of trying to figure out, well, where the heck, there are supposedly companies making these types of bricks to match the historic stuff, we came across them, but some of them said they stopped doing it or didn't have the right size was, I think, one of the issues. So there are things to consider there. So, I mean, when we first heard about it, it sounded, like, how did the heck did this happen? Well, there were reasons why it happened and it was unfortunate, but it really, in some respects, maybe couldn't be avoided. But the good news is the lesson learned there, we're applying that at Crystal. right?
Well, and
They are-
they're changing their modus operandi. They're not gonna take bricks from another street again.
Right, yeah, well, that's true.
So they
Yes.
said, we understand how difficult it is that, okay, we're taking yours over here. So, which might be a bitter pill for the people on the street if it can't be matched, but it's not gonna inconvenience another
Right.
street. They get it.
Yeah, those bricks look different. I walked by over there
Did you
too.
go there?
They're nice,
Yeah,
but they're different.
right, they're newer bricks. So I mean, this whole, the preservation, we have a preservation plan in place. That's the great news. Because we worked pretty hard to make sure that happened, but it's still a work in progress. These things are gonna happen and we will advise the commission on how to help them work through these issues. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions?
Did someone follow up with, that John to let him know that?
I don't know.
There have been continuing conversations between him and the municipality on
Okay.
the issue that. Yes,
It's best not for us to get in the middle.
correct.
At this point. I mean, there's just angry residents, there's just so much we can do for them. We can communicate their concerns to the commission, but we can't really resolve their problems for them or promise them anything up front, right? We can look into it, and we did. I know what was going on there. Okay, other questions? Public education.
Okay, tomorrow is the first in our three-part series, on this old sustainable house. I don't know if you want to say any more about the first part.
I did confirm all the speakers today, so everybody's coming. The last I heard, we had around 30 people coming. I don't know if that has changed. I think we're ready.
So if you haven't signed up, still time to sign up and come tomorrow night at 7 at the Howard Hanna offices. And then we probably do need everybody to kind of pitch in and continue to publicize the last two events. I think, we're not sure if some of the people who signed up thought they signed up for all three, but only signed up for the first one. Because there's only about 10 people signed up for the second and third one, so we need to push that to different people if we can, so if you.
I put that's like the last slide of like, the second session is March 7th, so we can mention that of like, if you didn't sign up, you should.
Yeah, so we have, actually, I think it's the 6th and the 20th, right?
That was this.
Or is it the
The first, fifth.
5th and the 19th? So it's 2 weeks from Tuesday, 4 weeks from Tuesday.
The 5th and the 19th. Oh, maybe I'll double check it.
So, and I'll coordinate with those speakers in terms of getting you a presentation to preview and you guys the presentation so you can load it on your computer. So it'll be a good series. Looking forward to it tomorrow.
So what's the maximum?
16.
Yeah, you could put 16 in. That'd be crowded.
I think 30 is a good number.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, advisory board transition. So, Jeff, what can you tell us about where we are with that?
All right, let me see if I can recollect all this. So currently, the commissioners are all voting on, we've received all the applicants or all the applications, are kind of scoring those. And then at the upcoming commission meeting, those are to be done. And I think that those seats will be officially, or all those positions will be officially seated. So I think that was Ian's timeline, that it was to be the upcoming commission meeting. So that should be.
That's the first one in March.
Okay, first one, all right. So, yeah, that is, so we're all going through the process of ranking right now. And then they should be, see the first week of March.
You know how many applications you got for the resiliency board?
Gosh, I was going through it today and that one was almost 20.
For how many? Is it 9 positions?
But they'll keep them on file for 2 years because sometimes, as you've seen with this board, somebody has to leave the board and then, so we always tell people if they don't get it on the first round, that doesn't mean they're not gonna get it soon.
Yeah, that was the board that got the most applicants, and it is amazing, the people that live in this community and the talent and experience, like, yeah, you go through those, you're like, oh God, I'm kind of an idiot next. Like, I'm inexperienced and don't know much, but it is really an incredible candidate of our pool of candidates for all the different advisory boards.
And then just as an aside, the first meeting of all of these boards will be in April. And the first meeting will serve as an orientation for everybody, and Ian's going to give a, and I think I'd mentioned to this group before, we're standardizing a lot of things, so there will be standard agendas, standard, you guys are great about getting back to me as to whether we're gonna have a quorum or not, there are other boards that aren't so much. And in the name of having everything standard, having agendas and links and everything posted online, that's going to be standardized. Other procedural things, making sure that we're following Robert's rules, making sure that people who are remote have their cameras on so that people can see them and hear them and know that they're attending. So again, we're just kind of putting everything together, and Ian's gonna go over that with everybody so that the orientation given to all 5 boards is even. So that'll be, I don't know that there'll be much business conducted that first meeting. They'll be assigning their committees and talking about their officers.
I did look at the last discussion session on this that
Yes.
the commission had here so, about a week ago. So I mean, if you want to see the updates, I guess a lot of you guys aren't sticking around, so you know, maybe care as much, but I was really want to see about where they were with things and firming up the procedures of each committee and so forth. Which was, listening to that made me think, oh yeah, maybe I need to create an annual report that's pretty comprehensive this year. To help them out. So, but you can tune in to that video.
It's on YouTube.
You want to see where they are with some of this. One question I had was, they mentioned there's gonna be 2 liaisons, staff liaisons.
There's 2 staff liaisons, right? So like, if somebody's sick or out of town, there's another person to do it. So there'll be a primary, and then so for the resiliency board, the primary staff liaison is Eric Milliron, who previously was in charge of economic development. And then the secondary liaison is Greg Wharton, who's the sustainability coordinator. So those are the 2.
But we're losing the best liaison in the municipality.
They're moving me over to civic engagement.
Well, I guess
So-
that makes some sense.
Yeah, I think it was more to make sure that things were aligned with what people do every day a little bit. So, I mean, Eric does have urban planning and historic preservation in his background. I do appreciate the kind words. And I'm not gonna let him flounder for information. I will make sure. And anytime anything is needed, I can attend the meeting and help.
Well, I'll say right now, right, you've done a great job. And I've been here since 2019, so been a great liaison.
You guys have been great. I mean,
Okay, anything else? Any other questions about the transition? It's gonna be a different. Yeah, we'll definitely need that onboarding in April. Do we know when the meetings will be for that, this?
Yeah, they are. If you go onto the website, mountlebanon.org/boards, and I don't remember offhand, it's listed under there. They're all at 6 p.m. And they're all Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So it'll depend on when that one got slotted, so that
Will we know when that going?
it's on there. I just don't
It's on there,
remember.
okay.
I mean, I can look it up. What we're saying.
Well, let's see whether I will be able to come to that meeting. If I'm on for one more year. Okay. Comprehensive plan, well, we don't really need, it's in force now, so. Probably we can take that report off our agendas.
So what happened with the comments that were made from people? was the process for taking those comments into consideration?
The commission heard all of the comments, they were given the files, and then, they gave feedback on the plan, and then they adopted the plan in January.
Do you know, like, how many things changed between the draft that we saw and?
I don't, there were changes.
Yeah, not many. I mean, I think that, there were comments that came in at the last minute. And maybe that's what you're referring to in some of those, and they were all heard, but I don't know that it changed much of the plan at that point.
And I don't think they were historic in nature. Most of them were mobility in nature.
Yes.
Fourth Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. is the meeting date.
Fourth Wednesday.
And then the only time that would change is if that, is a holiday.
Right, Economic Development Council, Matt, you got anything for us?
Yeah, not a lot historically oriented. There's a few pretty interesting things I'll quickly tick through. We talked about the staffing and the new Resiliency and Economic Development Board. South Garage will be closed and redeveloped, and that process will kick off shortly and will be a pretty lengthy process of 2 to 5 years prior to tear down and then replacement with a mixed use structure. So that's this one out here, which as far as I'm aware, has no historic qualities whatsoever that I can detect.
Far from it.
Far from it.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, sorry, it just seems clear to me that's gonna be a major impact on, on Uptown.
I attended a number of the task groups related to that discussion of that structure actually, and I was impressed with, the consultant and eventually the plan they're coming up with is there's this notion of still maintaining, not creating any incongruity with the municipal building, which is an historic structure, that they're cognizant of that in terms of the plan and whatever is going to go forth, that was foremost in the discussions about what we're gonna do with that space, right? They're not gonna put some monstrosity up there that will overshadow or somehow impact the historic nature of this building. So there certainly, there was a lot of discussion about that as part of the whole process. So that was reassuring for my part, that was an important part of the whole process in terms of the planning, the comprehensive plan. They're talking about this.
This building is a National Historic Landmark on top of it.
I
So
know. Yeah.
So did the final plan make, I know the draft had like 3 options for that development. Did they make a recommendation on one of those or?
not yet. So basically, I think the next step is an environmental study to kind of determine what's possible. And then from there, to put together some recommendations. So I think the 2 most common things floated out there, some sort of municipal, like, can you do a recreation facility? Is there space for additional library? But I think but then also like a mixed use, commercial first floor, some residential upstairs, which probably is more popular, but I can't say that for sure, but, yeah, it's a pretty big opportunity, certainly, to something a little nicer at this end of of Uptown.
How will that affect the overall need for parking on weekends? It's like a lot of times you see like the lots are getting like maxed out, filled, and people are parking all the way down streets, and people are parking in resident spots. I have people who come park in my resident spot.
this one is never full.
Oh, it isn't, okay. I wasn't
However,
sure.
during construction, it's gonna be a mess because it will push.
Right, but yeah, I wouldn't expect, there will not be as many spaces, when this project is done. I mean, it's just, right, it's never full,
Is it, okay, I wasn't sure, 'cause I know
350.
the one across from where I am is often utilized, but I wasn't sure what this one is much.
Yeah, that seems underutilized. I mean, if you drive down lower levels, it seems underutilized. And I think that probably serves the building next door too, right?
It does, but they also have internal with the building next door.
Mm.
And I think since the office building across the street isn't as occupied as well, that has created less of a need.
People in general people will do anything not to park in a garage. I mean, in general, like, they're not popular, people don't like them, they feel unsafe, it's a hassle, so they're rarely utilized well, so it's.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, so a couple of other quick topics. We talked about zoning extensively. And Seth proposes, member that of the Economic Development Council Board, that future zoning analysis should reference the AARP Handbook for Improved Neighborhoods and the AARP Livability Index. Currently ranks Mount Lebanon in the bottom third of communities from the perspective of livability for senior citizens, which is interesting. One of those factors being accessibility, the other being affordability. The affordability part is so that zoning analysis, if that's gonna occur, to me, one of the fundamental challenges here in Mount Lebanon, and it's the entire Metroplex, is the variable elevations, which make that a challenge, not only, for senior citizens, but I think disabled. So that suggests to me there will be a much more robust, if that process is implemented, that zoning is gonna become a much more robust activity. Because, zoning will need to take cognizance of how to implement maybe more level living opportunities and that sort of thing. So that was interesting, and it seems like that board's gonna have a lot of vitality. And here's just a couple of items on particular buildings. A former PNC building has been leased to David Allen Clothier, which is a custom clothing tailor whose business started with athletes. So that's currently scheduled to open in April or May. That was kind of interesting.
There's some bagels.
That's not gonna be the bagel outlet. Apparently the bagel outlet is coming, but it will not be the former PNC building. An interior building permit has been issued for the former Beto's. And Vintage remains opened over the holidays, complementing Vinyl remains. So, as I said, not terribly a lot going on with historic preservation there, but kind of interesting.
Thanks. Okay, great, thanks. Historical Society,
Yeah, nothing terribly much has happened. I think the last time that they had meeting prior to January was in November. And they had just gone through electing new board members for their historic preservation board. So Jeff Hurd is no longer president, now it's Beth Romig. And so they have a whole slate of different like lectures they do, community members come in that they've already planned out for the year on different historical elements of Mount Lebanon or just own personal research. The one thing that I did sort of find interesting is they recently, I guess around the holidays when they did their extended hours, they were able to sell 25 more historic home plaques for once for our district. So they sold those and got those delivered to the homeowners. And so it seems like their effort to increase their hours benefited somewhat because people are definitely wanting to have those on their homes. That's all from them.
okay. Planning Board, Marilyn's not here.
Did not get a report from her.
We don't have anything from her. Partnership design.
I don't have any updates. We haven't had a meeting for quite a while, but they don't have really set meeting dates and times, so you just get a random invite, but I can call with Eric and see, maybe try to get you an update before the next.
Yeah, so we can sort of say something about what the function is of our liaisoning with those folks.
Yeah.
For the incoming export. Sure. So that. Good. Well, that's quick. So are there any other items of business for the good of the order?
I just want to ask Alan, so I'm gonna pick up cookies for tomorrow. Should I bring something for drinks?
So when we had the one at the library, they had coffee and tea.
Which I think Michelle is going to take care of that. I'll
Yeah,
remind her.
so I don't know if we need more than that.
Okay.
Hey, you also have $1,500, so I don't want you to feel like you have to. You can give me the
So we could-
receipt as long
we
as
could
there's
get
no
a
alcohol.
Couple cases of water.
Okay, just get the receipts to me with that, with your home address and I can get that paid.
pretty inexpensive.
I understand.
If you think of something tomorrow.
Okay. Actually, I think I have a receipt from December that I lost somewhere in my house. For like $15.
Okay, anything else?
Just, if I may, put your note on our Brick Street policy, so I think we still need to nail down whether we'll have any changes in verbiage to that.
Yeah, I don't know, where that's at. Maybe you and I should discuss that, because it
Yeah, and let's come back to the
got
next
a little
meeting.
crazy there with Mindy sort of rushing things over the holidays because she was taking
Exactly.
off and you and I were pretty busy. And so, yeah, I'm not sure where that stands.
And my guess is it stands where it stood then, and I think we should, let's meet, and think about what we can do to jettison that policy into the future, run those changes to ground if we can.
You're right, make sure that they're documented and as advice to the commission. In terms of- Yeah, okay, so what you and I can communicate about that and
Yep.
summarize that up for the last meeting. That'll be a good part, a good thing to put into year-end annual report here. Anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Sure.
Well, if Mary Ellen wants to adjourn, I say we're adjourned.
All right.
See you guys.
See